Reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 3, text number 30, page 176. Mayi sarvani karmani samyasya cetasa nirasir nirmana budva yujasva vikta varaha Mayi sarvani karmani samyasya cetasa nirashir nirmano budva yujasva vigata svaraha Word for word, Mayi, unto me, Sarvani, all sorts of, Karmani, activities, Samyasya, giving up completely, Ajatma, full knowledge of the self, Cetasa, by consciousness, Nirashi, without desire for profit. Nirmama, without ownership. Udva, so being. Yujasva, right. Vigata, Vivara, without being lethargic. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrender all your work unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, and with no claim to proprietorship, free from lethargy, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetas. Nirashi means that one has to act on the order of the Master, which never expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars or rupees for his employer, but he does not claim a cent or a pice for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Maya, or unto me. When one acts in Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. If there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration, so-called kinsmen in the body relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. This way, one may become Vigata Jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachari Navase Shunyavadi Paskachadi Satarni Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti-Vinod Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation once again. Therefore, Arjuna, surrender all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desire for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, free from lethargy, fight. So, Bhagavad-Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago. Krishna comes in this material world. Krishna comes once in the day of Brahma, which is 8,600,000,000 years. So, and Brahma lives for 100 years, so Krishna comes 100 times in Brahma's life. So when Krishna came 5,000 years ago, he became the chariot driver. Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty, and he grew up in Vrindavan as a colored boy. But then at the age of 11 years old, approximately 10 years and 10 months, he left Vrindavan because he felt that the gopis' attachment for him was slackening, and also because Krishna was in Vrindavan, Kamsa was sending so many demons to kill him, creating a disturbance. So to avoid disturbance to the people of Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram left at an early age. And of course, Krishna never takes one step out of Vrindavan, but he is expansion, Vasudeva expansion, goes to Mathura, and Balaram also went to Mathura in his Shankarchan expansion. So Krishna is always in Vrindavan. Sometimes he's manifest, sometimes he's not, but the Krishna that was born to Mother Yasoda always remains in Vrindavan. So this Krishna comes every one day of Brahma, every 8,600,000,000 years. And when Krishna comes in Dwapara Yuga, the end of Dwapara Yuga, there's 4 yugas. There's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. 4 different ages. And the Lord has his Yuga avatar in each of the different ages. So when Krishna, when the astrologer came to read Krishna's astrological calculation, he said you appear in different ages in white color, red color, black color, and yellow color. So when Krishna comes every one day of Brahma, he comes at the end of Dwapara Yuga. And at that time, also in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya comes as the Yuga avatar. And he is he's not black, he's yellow. Krishna Varnam, Chashar Krishnam, Sangopanga Aspanam, Yagnyar Sankitam Parayar, Yantihi Sumeda Shaha. So when Krishna came, he demanded surrender. In the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna mentions that surrender to him is 6 times. And so in the 4th chapter, Krishna says, Yetamam papadante tam tataiva bhajamyaham mam varnu vartante minishya martha sarvachaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Then in the 5th chapter, he says, one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Then in the 7th chapter, he says, Taivyecha gunamai mama maya dharadaya mameva vipapadante mayam etam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of 3 modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome, but those who surrender to me can easily cross beyond it. Then, in the 10th chapter, he says, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, Their lives are fully surrendered to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss by always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And then, in the 18th chapter, the conclusion of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dhamma Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Raja Antam Sarvapavayo Mokshishami Ma Suchaha. That you give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will protect you from all sinful action. Do not fear. So this is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And to get people to surrender to Krishna and understand that human life is a life of responsibility. It's a responsibility of everyone in the human life to see that his next life is not degraded. He says, Nibikramana Shosti, a little advancement on this path can save one from the most fearful condition, and that is to have to go take birth as a lower species. There are 8,400,000 species, but only 400,000 are human species. So as a human being, we shouldn't waste our life in sense gratification, and because at the time of death, we decided what our next birth will be. So a life of sense gratification means that one will have to suffer for his sinful activities and take birth in a lower species. So one should take the Krishna consciousness and see that at the time of death he's Krishna conscious, or he has accumulated enough pious credits so he will take a higher birth, maybe in the heavenly planets, and then come back and take birth in a Brahmin family and continue Krishna consciousness. Either way, there's no loss. If one takes the Krishna consciousness, is not successful, he has a spiritual bank account. In the material world, you may have so much money in the bank, but at the time of death, you can't take anything with you. We come in this world with nothing, and we leave this world with nothing. So, the family members are considered fallible souls. One may think my family members will save me, or my bank balance will save me, or my acquired possessions will save me. But nothing will save you at the time of death, and you can't take anything with you. So here, Krishna is saying that we should give up all claim to proprietorship. So if you don't actually own it, if you're just renting an apartment, you can't claim that you own it, or you'll become subject to the punishment by the law. So we come in this world with nothing, and according to our past karma, we get a body, and we're born in a family, different kind of family, and we enjoy or suffer, and we acquire so many material things according to our karma. So one man may be born very rich and with a silver spoon in his mouth, so they say. And one man may be very poor, he has to sit in the street and beg alms all day long. So this is the result of one karma, it's destiny. But either case, whether you're a beggar or a rich man, you come in the world with nothing, and you leave the world with nothing. So it's an illusion to think, anyone who thinks they can be happy in this world by acquiring so many material things is simply an illusion. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna that he should surrender all his works to Krishna with full knowledge of me. That means freedom from passion. And freedom from profit means profit and prosperity. That means freedom from passion. And freedom from ignorance means, it says, free from lethargy. That means freedom from ignorance. Lethargy means to be lazy or not want to work. So the Krishna decided that before the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna went to do Hastinapur to try to persuade the Kurus not to fight. But Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra were intent on fighting. And at one point, Dhritarashtra wanted to arrest Krishna. At that time, Krishna displayed his universal form, one of his universal forms. So, even though Dhritarashtra saw the universal form, saw that Krishna's unlimited power and opulence, still they declined to not to fight. So Krishna had to fight, and he became the chariot driver of Arjuna. So Krishna made a vow that he would not take up any weapons in the battle of Kurukshetra. And Lord Balaram, he was the guru of Duryodhana, so he didn't want to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, because if he took Duryodhana's side, Krishna would have been unhappy, and if he took Krishna's side, then Duryodhana would have been unhappy. So Balaram didn't take part in the battle of Kurukshetra. He went on pilgrimage at that time. So Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna, which seems like a menial position. But here, Krishna is acting as the commander, or chief of the armies, and he's telling Arjuna that you should fight. This is the whole Bhagavad-Gita is meant to instruct Arjuna that his duty is to fight as a Kshatriya. So throughout the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna that he should fight and not be reluctant. So this is was the desire of the Lord. And we also, devotees should be desireless, which means we have no desires apart from the desire to please the Lord. Yasha prasada bhagavat prasado yasha prasada narakintu gopi ayam stuvam dasada sasi sangam vande garoshi charana vindam. So if one pleases the spiritual master, Krishna is pleased. If you please the spiritual master, then Krishna is pleased. If Krishna is pleased, the spiritual master is pleased. So no one can actually approach Krishna directly, but we have to go through his representative, which is the spiritual master or the guru. So everyone must have a guru. A civilized human being must have a guru and must surrender to the guru. And here it says that, like in the military discipline, if one's in the army, or he may be given a difficult mission, but still he has to discharge his duty. So this was a difficult mission for Arjuna, because he didn't want to fight with his family members. He wanted to renounce the battle and go off to the forest and live by as an aesthetic. But every step, every chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is trying to giving Arjuna so many different arguments why he should not do that. And because Krishna came 5,000 years ago, and the purpose of Krishna's coming was to relieve the burden of the earth. Mother Bhumi assumed the form of a cow and went to Lord Brahma because she was feeling the earth was overburdened by demoniac kings. So Krishna came 5,000 years ago to reduce the burden of the earth. Yada yada idharmasya ganini bharata. He comes to establish religious principles and to annihilate the demons and miscreants. So the Battle of Kurukshetra, there was 640 million people, or soldiers. Practically all the houses in the world were left with the children, the women, and the old people, and all the others went to the battle to fight. So one time Krishna was taking rest in Dwarka, and Duryodhana came to see him for some reason. He was sitting by his side. And Arjuna came to see Krishna at the same time, and he was sitting at his feet. So when Krishna opened his eyes, he saw Arjuna first. So he said to Arjuna, "I'm very happy to see you. Why have you come to see me?" But Duryodhana was sitting on his side, and he protested. He said, "I came first, so you should satisfy my desires first." So Krishna said to Duryodhana that you can choose. We're going to have the battle of Kurukshetra, and you can have me on your side. Krishna said you can have me on your side, or you can have my armies, which equaled 11 or 12 Akshinis. And Arjuna's side was only 7. So Duryodhana was a demon, and he didn't know Krishna. Krishna says, Abhijanti Mam Mudha, that devotees, the fools, they do not recognize him when he comes in human form. Very few people knew who Krishna was when he came in the material world, looking like a human being. But he performed so many superhuman activities. So Duryodhana thought that to have a greater number of army would guarantee him victory. So he said, "Okay, well, I will take your soldiers." So Krishna took the side of Arjuna, and although they were outnumbered, still there was no chance of being defeated, because when Krishna was on their side of the Pandavas, therefore all success was guaranteed. So Krishna wanted to give the credit for the battle of Kurukshetra to Arjuna. Arjuna was empowered to fight. He had been given a chariot when the demigod Agni Dev had taken too much ghee, was feeling an indigestion. He wanted to devour this forest, but every time the forest was set on fire, Indra would send clouds of rain. So Krishna and Arjuna went there, and they stopped the rain so that the forest could burn, so Agni Dev could get relief from his indigestion. So then Agnidev gave Arjuna a special chariot, an invincible chariot. And also Arjuna had the Gandiva bow, and which is also an invincible weapon, and unlimited amount of arrows. So in this way, he couldn't be defeated by any soldiers. So Krishna took the side of Arjuna, and the Battle of Kurukshetra took place. So Srila Prabhupada came to America in 1965, and he came on the order of his Guru Maharaj. He was surrendered. In 1922, Srila Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj. At that time, Prabhupada was a householder, and he was the first meeting. At the first meeting, he said, Bhaktisiddhanta said to Srila Prabhupada, "You're a young man. I want you to spread this Krishna conscious movement in the English-speaking world." So Srila Prabhupada at that time was a follower of Gandhi and thought that India had to become independent before this message could be spread all over the world. But Bhaktisiddhanta didn't agree with that. He said that as a material consideration, and that Krishna consciousness can't wait for India to become independent. And it was Lord Chaitanya's desire also that the chanting the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, be chanted in every town and village in the world. So Srila Prabhupada took that order as his life and soul. And at the age of 70, he got on the Jaladuta cargo ship, took the journey, 35-day journey to America to try to inject Krishna consciousness into a misguided civilization. In America at that time, the whole civilization was in the mode of passion and ignorance. And everybody thought that having sense gratification, having sex life, having material possessions was the only business of the human life. No one had any idea about self-realization or about becoming Krishna conscious. So it seemed like an impossible task. So Prabhupada translated Bhagavad-Gita, and he sent Brahmananda to Macmillan Company. Macmillan Company was a large publishing house. They printed many books. So Brahmananda had made an appointment with some man, Macmillan Company, to sell him a record. So Prabhupada told him that when you go there, you ask them to print Bhagavad-Gita. So Brahmananda went there, and he met one man who was working in the accounts department, which had nothing to do with printing. And he gave him a record. They made a Hare Krishna record. But at the same time, another man came in the office who was one of the editors from the Macmillan Company. And Brahmananda told him that the man said, Brahmananda told him that we have the Bhagavad-Gita manuscript. And the man said, well, we've been looking for a Bhagavad-Gita manuscript. We've been looking to print the Bhagavad-Gita. So by some miracle or some Krishna's arrangement, the Bhagavad-Gita was printed for the first time in 1972 by the Macmillan Company. And then devotees began distributing Bhagavad-Gita. So the Bhagavad-Gita deals with 5 subject matters, which are material nature, karma, the living entity Jiva, the Supreme Lord, and time factor. And these 5 items are covered throughout the Bhagavad-Gita. And 4 of these items, material nature, the living entity, the Supreme Lord, and time, are eternal or permanent. They can't be changed. But the one thing that can be changed is karma. So when one takes a devotional service, Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhakti Lata Beach, at time of initiation, one karma stops. But that means at time initiation, the devotee promises to follow 4 regulated principles: no eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and to chant 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra every single day without fail. Even when Prabhupada came to America, they were working very hard to get the temple ready for his arrival, and devotees were sleeping 4 hours. So Prabhupada asked them if they were chanting 16 rounds, and they said no. So Prabhupada said, then you should sleep less. But you must chant 16 rounds every single day. So this is a contract you make with the spiritual master. And this way, the spiritual master, he takes your karma at the time of initiation. You're not accruing any new karma. But also, but that doesn't mean that you're free from past karma, prarabdha karma. Just like when they turn off the fan, it continues to run for some time. And so there's still some traces of karma from the past life. In this life, we occur in karma. The next life, the karma accompanies the living entity. But if we are performing devotional service and we're doing everything for the desire of the Lord, for in Krishna consciousness, then we're not occurring any new karma. Here it says we have to become desireless. So desireless doesn't mean we become have no desire, but desireless means we only have desire for the desire to please the spiritual master, to please Krishna. This is the meaning of the becoming desireless. So I pumsam paro dharmo ito bhaktira hoksite haitaki apatita yena masu prasidati. So devotional service means unmotivated, uninterrupted. Whatever service we're doing, we should not expect any kind of remuneration. Especially if someone's reciting Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many professional reciters of Bhagavatam. This is condemned. This is an offense to the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam speaker should speak purely to enlighten the people in the audience, not ask for any money, and should not expect any money. And the same thing with kirtan. People do kirtan, put on performances of Harinam Sankirtan anywhere in the world. One should not ask for any money or expect any money for this activity. That's also an offense to the holy name. So this is selfless service. We simply do the service. If someone wants to give a donation, then we can accept it. But we should not demand anything or expect anything. This is called selfless service. Just like Sudama Brahman, he was so poor, he didn't have any money, he didn't have any clothes, he didn't have any food, but he was simply dependent on Krishna. Madhavinda Puri, he was also fully surrendered soul. He never asked for prasadam. Whatever came, he ate. If nothing came, he would fast. But we cannot imitate these great souls who are simply depending on Krishna. But as much as possible, those who are brahmacharis, live in the temple, and have a very simple life. All necessities are supplied. So and then if one decides he'd rather doesn't want to be a brahmachari, then he got the choice that he can take the grihastha ashram. But we know anybody in the grihastha ashram will tell you that it's much more difficult to be in the grihastha ashram, and the person who leaves the brahmachari ashram goes to the grihastha ashram, he's always condemning himself, saying, why did I make this decision? There's so much trouble. In grihastha ashram, you have to always be worried about getting money. You have to take care of the wife, then you have to take care of the children, then you got to take care of the grandchildren, and it's just so much trouble, which makes advancement very slow. Prabhupada said grihastha life, advancement is very slow or next to nil. So it's much easier to be a sold-out brahmachari and live in the temple and follow the instructions of the temple authorities and not have so many desires to have so many material things, only have the necessities of life. But even in grihastha, he should give 50% of his income to the Krishna conscious movement. Grihastha should serve the Vaishnavas, just like Mahaprabhu, when he was a householder, 21 sannyasis came to his house. So at that time he told Vishnupriya to go in the kitchen, cook a feast for these sannyasis. But there wasn't any ingredients in the house. But anyhow, she went in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, all the ingredients were there. So she cooked a feast for all the sannyasis, and Mahaprabhu personally fed them all, 21 sannyasis, just to set the example of householders. So householders should not be miserly. They should give 50% of their income, and they should also give in charity to support prasadam distribution and book distribution, and this way utilize their money and everything they have in Krishna's service. This is the duty of a grihastha. If a sannyasi comes to the temple, grihastha should invite the sannyasi to their house and feed them and inquire from them and try about spiritual subject matters. So in this way, Krishna is saying here that one should surrender unto him, which is explained 6 different times in Bhagavad-Gita, and finally in the last chapter, Sarvadhamma Parikshaja. And he's saying, with full knowledge of me, that knowledge must be in the mode of pure goodness. That knowing that Krishna's two Krishna's two or Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshu Sarva Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. And so we should surrender to Krishna with full knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means no one's equal to or greater than him. And from Krishna comes many expansions of Vishnu forms, but Krishna is the original form of Godhead. And Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, especially his pastimes with the gopis, with the Rasa Leela, these were considered by Mahaprabhu to be the highest form of devotional service. Because one time Krishna had a headache, and he told Narada Muni that you bring some feet dust from someone, that will cure my headache. So Narada Muni said, well, I can't give my feet dust because I'll go to hell. Then he went to Dwarka. He told the queens, Krishna's queens, Krishna has a headache, give some feet dust. And also they refused. But then he went to Vrindavan and he said to the gopis, Krishna has a headache, we need your feet dust. And the gopis immediately said, well, you take as much as you want. Take as much as you want. And Narada Muni said, well, then that means you're going to have to go to hell. But the gopis said, we don't care. Whatever pleases Krishna. If Krishna's pleased by our giving our food dust and we go to hell, then we're pleased. That is the meaning of someone who's fully surrendered. So in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Narada Muni is trying to find out who got the most mercy, and it comes to the gopis. So Lord Chaitanya also praised the gopis and Krishna's pastimes as the highest form of pure devotional service. So Krishna says also here that we should be without desires, free from profit, no claim to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So in all circumstances, in all, this verse is giving all the reasons why Arjuna should not leave the battlefield, should stay and fight, and because it's Krishna's order, and because Krishna wants it, then he will not be the loser, he'll be successful, and it is the right thing to do. That Arjuna must fight this battle, and for the purpose of relieving the burden of the world, and so that people can become Krishna conscious and go back home, back to Godhead, which is the real goal of life. Here it says here that everyone according to his quality and position has a particular type of work to discharge. All such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. So liberation, there's Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, but those are material consideration. But here, path of liberation doesn't mean to merge into the Brahman or to become one with Krishna. It means to get out of the material world, go back to Golok Vrindavan and join Krishna in his pastimes, either as a friend or a servant or as a parent or as a gopi or his topmost conjugal love. This is the real meaning to liberation. The devotee doesn't want anything else. Mukti doesn't want sense gratification. He doesn't want liberation from the material world, Brahman realization. He only wants to be able to go back to the spiritual world and not take birth again in this material world and suffer repeated birth and death again. Repeated birth and death, and suffer again over and over again. So that's all I have to say about this verse. Does anybody have any questions? Comments or questions? Anybody on Radio Land have any questions? Yes.
You make one statement that one of the reasons Krishna left Vrindavan was he was seeing the gopis well slacking somewhat. Can you give a reference for that?
Yeah, that's in. Well, It's either Gopal Champu, possibly, or Pain Chandrika by Narottam Das Thakur. I don't remember exactly which book it's in. In one of those books. Or maybe in Brihad Bhagavatamrita also. But anyway, it's not. I read it somewhere. So. But I can't remember exact reference. You have to look in encyclopedia. Vedic Encyclopedia. Their website. What's it called? Vedapedia? Anything else? Alright, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Antaraj Srimad Bhagavad-Gita Ki Jai.